The state voter ID bill very quickly became law. To get a non-photo ID for religious reasons, the applicant must answer a series of 18 deeply personal questions. The forms are reviewed by PennDOT personnel. What can you, as an elected representative, do so voters are not disenfranchised? Please explain.
Well, I too was very surprised and not happy with all the steps that people have to take to get a non-photo ID. I think they go beyond what I think is reasonable. That often happens when we pass laws in the legislature. The rules and regulations that are then promulgated by the departments often are more restrictive and many times contrary to what the intent of the legislation is. So I think we as a legislature can step in there and make sure that that process is reasonable. We can tell the departments what we think is the right way to go on that, and I think we have to do that as a legislature. Because after all, we passed the law, and if it goes beyond what we think is reasonable, we have a mandate to make it right for the voters.
Thank you, Representative Swanger. Mr. Hall.
Okay, I was actually very helpful for one of our secretaries when I worked for the state up in Harrisburg. She did not have ID, and we got her in there. We were able to take in 2 of her bills, take in her birth certificate, things like this. So we did not find it very difficult at all to get out and get a voter ID for her at PennDOT. I'm surprised that they're saying it's difficult. It's very easy, actually. And my wife and I found out the importance of checking on the voter ID when we were asked by the State Republican Committee to review some of the people that had signed on petitions, and you would see sports stars, their names down. When you went to check their address, it was a vacant lot, things like this. Now, we were working down in the Philly area and are reviewing applications from the Philly area, and it is a hotbed of voter ID problems. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Mr. Eisenhauer.
I'd have to say that 18 steps to get a non-photo ID is completely unreasonable, and it's completely over the top, and it's an example of an emblematic, of a systematic problem that we have within the governmental administrative units of our state government, where a law can be passed, for example, just to say that we need clean water. Next thing you know, there's thousands of dollars and 16 months going into a permit to obtain the right to move dirt to ensure that you have clean water. What the legislature needs to do is ensure that there's clarity in laws that are passed, so that there is no wiggle room for an administrator or bureaucrat to come in and say that you need to provide X, Y, and Z, when it should be blatant and clear at the outset. And I'll make sure that legislation I work on is clear in its intent and clear in its implementation, and I'll do that from day one.
Thank you, Mr. Eisenhower.
You're listening